Back in the fall of 2008, we started a program to refurbish the steam boiler, and this is a little propaganda piece we put out for that. Too hot, too cold, nuclear hot radiators, scary banging noises, don't get too steamed, get the facts. What is going on? We are in the second phase of a project to refurbish the steam heating system that services the 2 office floors and the 2 basement restrooms. You probably didn't even notice the first phase over the past year since that work took place in the boiler room. You'll definitely notice the second phase since it involves all the radiators. Why didn't we just replace the furnace? This project has nothing to do with the furnace replacement project. The church has 2 completely separate and unrelated heating systems, steam for the offices and forced air for everything else. Project overview. This project is restoring the original grandeur of a 90-year-old steam heating system that has been neglected for a long time. The boiler was replaced about 10 years ago, but most everything else is original to the building. The goal is to improve reliability, provide more uniform heat, and significantly increase energy efficiency. Boiler parts and licensed professionals are both very expensive, so we are doing most of the work ourselves in a structured manner over a 2-year period. The church simply could not afford to make all the necessary repairs at once or hire contractors to do all of the work. So we'll start off with phase 1. Refurbish the boiler controls and continue with the systemic plan to replace all worn out parts. Most of the refurbishing work took place over the past year, so we should be having far fewer of the annoying heat-outs so common in years past. When we do have trouble, steam is always a bit temperamental, we won't be running blind anymore. There is now a diagnostic panel with colored lights to identify the problem. Plus, the system will send a text message if it gets too cold in the office. Phase 2. Refurbish all radiators by replacing steam traps and valves. Install better thermostat sensors so people in the chapel do not liquidate while Mike and the reception volunteers crystallize in the wintertime. Steam traps are the little round things that keep the steam in the radiator while letting the condensed water out. We are replacing these over a 3-year period. You will notice a much hotter radiators after replacement since, well, the steam will be staying in the radiators and not just passing right on through without doing much work. Carefully don't burn the important parts of yourself or get too close to them. They will be quite hot. Valves are the knobs that allow you to adjust the amount of heat at each radiator. These are also being replaced over a 3-year period. You will finally be able to adjust the heat from off to full blast with everything in between. Some common area radiators will not be adjustable without a special wrench, which will only be entrusted into the hands of super special people. Okay, but why are some areas even hotter or even colder than they were before? There will be an awkward period when the uneven heat will probably get a bit worse in some areas. Those radiators that are producing a lot more heat after steam trap replacement will need to be turned down, but the valve may be stuck. Since we can only afford to replace 1/3 of the valves this year, we need to decide which radiators need them the most once the trap replacement is complete. If we had loads of cash, then we could fix all the radiators this year. But if we had boatloads of cash, then we could also hire it all done in a few days. But we simply don't have it. Fine, but what is with the loud banging noises? This is technically called water hammer, and despite what you may have heard, this is not normal and is quite hard on the piping. This occurs when steam and water are not properly chaperoned by a steam trap that's functioning correctly, and they end up getting together where they shouldn't be. Since steam occupies 1,700 times more space than water, it literally becomes explosive when these two hook up. This is like throwing cold water into a red-hot frying pan. This explosion sends a little slug of water rocketing down the pipe at close to 100 miles per hour. At that speed, when the pipe makes a turn, the slug of water tries to follow along, but it is going way too fast, which results in a head-on collision with the pipe elbow. It sounds like a hammer hitting a pipe because the little water slug hits the pipe pretty gosh darn hard. You may hear more banging on occasion as we sort out the traps that are most in need of replacement. If we substitute, it will subside as we systematically enforce proper boundaries for steam and water so they are not tempted to unite. In the meantime, if a pipe jumps off a wall, you may want to let somebody know. Update, mid-December 2008. Just a couple more steam traps to go before starting on the valves. Restrooms are now getting more heat. The doors need to stay shut to keep the heat in. The boiler has been working great so far, but work on the steam traps has dislodged disgusting century-old goo from the pipes and has raised steam pressure. High pressure makes for a grumpy boiler, despite what you may have heard. We want low pressure, very low and gentle pressure. Once the boiler has been properly appeased, there will be no need for further excessive drama from our in-house boiler guy, and we can get back to working on the radiators. But this will probably take a little while to flush out because this goo is going to be channeling throughout the pipes and getting lodged in all sorts of places that's going to have to be flushed out. So remember, it is called the art of steam heating.